to add little valves to these areas so that we can get the sink up and running, at least install the valves. So we need to shut off the water. This is where the water is in my house, and obviously there's snow around too. I had to dig down and find it, and if I traipse through here, this little valve down there is the water valve. I'm going to unscrew that and then get the water shut off. So this is the part I'm going to unscrew. So once that comes loose, it's connected by wires down inside here. And you see the valve I need to shut off is right there. This is the tool I use to shut off the water. It's got a nice little end on it right there. And I'll stick it down inside there. So I stick that end down here right on top of that little valve, and then I will turn that valve. Okay, so now I've turned that valve on the side, and that should shut off the water. So if we're working inside, I have the valve shut off, or this is going to be the valve cutter. It's going to actually slice the hoses. The two valves that'll go on the ends, and these two things to help me get there. At least I hope they will. We'll see. Now one thing you want to do is make sure that the water is all the way shut off. This is the lowest valve that we have in the house. It's in the basement, and it's right next to where we're going to do this. So I'm going to just turn this on and let it run until the water kind of runs out. This is with the valve already shut off. So it's been draining for about a minute or so, and you kind of see it slowing down a little bit, which is good. Whatever I don't get out of here, I'm gonna have to catch with the bucket on the other end when I cut the valve, so I'm just gonna let it run. Okay, so now it's running really slowly. I'm gonna go ahead and work my way over to the tubes and start with the slicing. And I'm gonna leave it open so it just continues to run. So here we have the tubes that need to be cut open. I have the tools to do it. So I'm gonna grab one of these. I'm gonna start on this. Now I don't want to go too clear to the end, but I don't want to go very far out either, so I'm going to start slicing there. So this is how this is hooked up, and I continue to twist it. And as I twist it, it starts to slice more and more. You can see the slice that it's making there. And then I twist it a little bit more, and I keep turning it back this way. And now I'm getting some water coming out, which is a good thing. So now I slice that whole end off. This is how the ends look. And there's water coming out, which of course I have a little bucket here so I can catch it, which is good. And then I'm going to stick one of these on the end. And like this, and we'll go from there. So I just stopped with the draining, which is good. And I put those pieces on there. This little flange is really important. And that piece goes right there. And then this piece goes right here, and we will start connecting them. So just to make sure, so when you look at this, and it's going to go on that ring right there, you want this to go as far up as possible. And then I'm going to screw this down. When I screw it down, it's going to take that metal part right there, and it's going to make it nice and tight. The instructions say to go ahead and tighten this until you can't tighten it anymore with your hands, and then use a wrench. So that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, so now it's to the point where I can't twist it anymore. It doesn't want to go. And now I will use a wrench, and I'm gonna turn it 3/4 of a turn, and then that'll be as tight as it's gonna go. And that should stop the water. So when it's done, it looks like this. It's pointing up because that's where you really want it to go. And this has been nice and tight. So now we will do the same thing to the other side. We'll use this and clamp it on there and make it loose and open it up. So once again, we start tightening this, and we loosen it, and we crank it back and forth, and tighten it down more, and crank it back and forth. Then we go again. We continue to crank it back and forth, and the water starts to come out, right? Which is a good thing. leave that area. Hopefully I'm catching most of it. So I used the wrench to kind of pry off the little tiny bit that was left right there. And now it's nice and open and big, and it's not draining, which is good. So once again, I slipped that big valve on the back side, and I put the gold thing right there, slide it back up a little bit, and then I will grab this tube and insert it. It's draining a little bit more water, which is good. So that's as tight as I can get it. And now I'm going to use the wrench to tighten it more. I'm supposed to do 3/4 of a turn. Okay, now both pieces are on. And they're shut off, which is good. I want to make sure they're shut off. And then I'm going to go turn the bathtub back off so that it doesn't continue to run. And I'll turn the water on and we'll see what happens. Hopefully I don't get a lot more water coming out of here. I also made sure I emptied that tub so that if water does come out, there's plenty of room for it. So I'm back outside with this hose, this pipe shutter off thingy. I'm gonna get down in there, get it connected, and turn the water back on. See, it's way down there. Okay, I've now turned the water back on. You can see that valve is back turned the right direction. And we'll go see what's going on inside the house. So as I come back down here and take a look at these, make sure that we're not dripping. And I don't see anything, which is good. Oh, I just saw a drip. So if that's what's going on, then I gotta tighten that sucker back up a little bit. As you turn the water back on, some of it will come out kind of a brown color. Just let it sit and run for a little bit. Should clear it out pretty good. So just to make sure it doesn't continue to drip, I went ahead and put something down underneath it. This lovely paper my wife had. And I'm just gonna let it sit there and see if we continue to get more drips or not. And, I went ahead and turned on every faucet in the house, let it run for a minute or so, got a bunch of junk out of it. So I put that little rag underneath there and try to catch it, see if it's dripping, and I guess it is still dripping a little bit. So I'm going to continue to work on the one on the right and tighten it up. So I was able to tighten the one up on the right just a little bit, so I'm going to let it sit there for a while and see if more things drip down. So after I tighten the one on the right, I let it sit here for quite a while, and there's no drips down there. There's little things coming off the edge there, but that's not the drips. Anyway, which is great. So sounds like we are good. Thank you. Have a great day.